Hello, beautiful souls. Today I wanted to share a gentle day with you, from the village market to preparing simple, nourishing foods, and how I'm slowly healing my nervous system along the way. After 3 weeks in snow in New Hampshire, we're back beneath the endless blue skies of Spain, and for the first time since we moved here, I felt like arriving home. I came back with such a profound, settling feeling of finally arriving, not just in this country, but also within myself. I'll share more about that in the second part of this video, but first let me invite you to join me at the weekly market in the little town we live close by. Preparing wholesome food for my family has been something I've been doing with a lot of love and passion for many years. But to be completely transparent, I've been in a bit of a crisis with cooking over the last year or so. Because here's the thing, even if you love doing something, the moment it becomes obligatory, a must, something you oftentimes rush through because lunch needs to be ready at a certain time, that's when it becomes tricky, at least in my experience. So, over the last year or two, I've tried to be less of a perfectionist, putting less pressure on myself and trying to create wholesome, nourishing foods while keeping it really simple. I grew up with very anxious and severely traumatized caregivers. Many things were shaped by fear, and far too often tasks were done in a hectic, rushed way. As a result, I developed a hyper-anxious nervous system. I didn't really know what it felt like not to be stressed. Stress was normal for me. It was everyday life. About a year ago, all of this, the learned patterns and behaviors, collapsed within me. And although this process was extremely painful, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Only now am I able to choose freely and with increasing freedom how I do things. For over a year now, I have been practicing doing everything slowly, mindfully, and with care. Now I'm trying to have enough time not to get in a hurry, to practice slowness and gentleness wherever I can, as that has been the key to healing my anxious and sensitive nervous system. Do I sometimes get frustrated? Well, yes, but I continue to practicing being gentle with myself, and that has helped me so much in recent times to stay connected with myself and therefore also be a gentler and more present person and caregiver. I just made myself a warm cup of tea, hibiscus raspberry tea. I love hibiscus tea. So yeah, really delicious and warming because it's actually quite cold here. 2 days ago, a big rainstorm came. It hasn't really left the island, so it's still raining heavily and storming outside. So that's also why I don't have a lot of light filming today. But yeah, I just wanted to have a little chat with you guys since I haven't been talking to you for like 2 or 3 weeks now. And yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit how things have been over here. So we came back to Spain about 2 weeks ago, and the first week has really been just adjusting to our normal day-to-day life with school and hobbies. But what has been really beautiful to notice for me personally is that, like I said in the beginning of this video, for the first time since we moved here to Spain, I felt like arriving home. And that has been something I have been really grateful for because, yeah, like I shared in the last 2 or 3 videos, that last year has been really challenging. And a year ago in January, I was in the whole process of deciding whether we should stay here or go back to Germany. I had 2 job offers, and there was one part of me who really wanted to take them, and the other part was really screaming, no, don't do that, don't go back there. And taking that decision to not go back to Germany made my whole system collapse. That was really, really hard, especially because my nervous system reacted to old trauma so badly. And I don't really have recovered from that, to be completely transparent. There is still a lot of hurt and a lot of sadness about that, about how everything went down. So that is something I'm still working on daily. On the other hand, I think sometimes things need to collapse so something new can be created and can grow out of that crisis. And that's what happened. Now, a year later, I feel like a completely new person. I practice slowness and gentleness every day now. Whatever I do, it might be the most mundane thing like folding laundry or, driving my children to school. I try to be gentle with myself. I try to be gentle with the people in my life, especially my children. I try to forgive myself by being gentle with myself instead of moving in old patterns of guilt and shame. So it has been an emotional struggle, and I made some big mistakes the way I took those decisions, and I learned so much from that process. And yeah, it hurts, but I think what we can do is to own up to those mistakes, to see them as a chance to learn. So next time we get it better, we make a better decision, and people won't get hurt along the way, hopefully. When I came back from the United States, there was this feeling of arriving, of coming home, but also at the same time there was a deep feeling of feeling more complete, as if a puzzle that has always been missing finally came back to me. Not only was it a sign that the whole process of the last year is finally coming to an end, but it was also something different. And I wanted to share a little bit about that. It took me a couple of days to figure out where that came from, and then I realized that it has to do with my French heritage, which I haven't shared yet here on this channel. Most of you guys who have been following along for a while now know that we moved from Germany to Spain, so we have German heritage. But I also have French heritage from my father's side. And due to very complicated, traumatic family events, I never got to meet my French family, and the whole French side of my family has always been like this big black hole I never had any chance to connect with. Growing up in Germany, but being half French, has always left me with this feeling of not being complete, that somehow a part of me was missing. I've always felt very connected to the Mediterranean area in Europe, especially France, of course, but then also Spain. And although I didn't move to France last year and have never lived there, I did move to a Mediterranean island. And it felt like this piece of me, this piece of my heritage that I always felt very connected to but could never reach, as if that kind of finally came back to me, if that makes any sense. It felt like a puzzle that finally was complete. This was very unexpected. I am just so grateful for having taken this decision to stay here in Spain, because it has given me a true, real moment of healing, a part of my family history that I did not expect at all. Yeah, so that was a little deep dive into my recent realizations, and I hope you had a beautiful, gentle, and happy start of the year. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you to everyone who subscribed recently. I hope my videos can give you a moment of calm, a moment of slowness and gentleness, and maybe even a moment of reflection now and then. I feel like this space is becoming a really beautiful community, which I'm ever so grateful for. So thank you to everyone who has been commenting. I also wanted to quickly ask you if you have any questions for me, because I was thinking about maybe doing a little Q&A. So if you do have any questions, please leave them down below this video, or you can come over to my Instagram. So yeah, feel free to ask me anything, and I hope to see you in my next video. Goodbye.